Loudoun County homeowners who are interested in selling their home this spring, the Dulles Association of Realtors recently published an infographic that has been widely shared by real estate agents in Loudoun County. I do not blame the association for posting the infographic. It is accurate information. However, I do have an issue with agents using it to try to convince people that now is a great time to list their home. So for those of you on video, I'm going to share with you my screen. For those on the podcast, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what is on the infographic. It is titled Loudoun County Housing Market Q1 2019 versus Q1 2020. And as you can see, the key takeaways that they typically highlight are a median price point, which is $512,000. That's up 7% from last year's 2019 first quarter numbers, and a total sales volume of 1,222 sales. Again, basically run on par with last year's sales. So, first blush, first look, this looks like really good data, right? I mean, it's probably a reason for you to think that now would be a good time to list your home. I do want to make 2 points with this infographic to explain why I'm not a big fan of it, or why it should be used to convince you to sell your home, or list it at least. First of all, it's looking at first quarter data. That's January, February, and March. The COVID crisis did not really start impacting real estate in Loudoun until mid-March. So, in my opinion, all this data, first quarter of 2020, is not relevant. Totally different market first quarter than it is right now. The second point that I want to make, and probably a little bit more important in my opinion, is the fact that this is Loudoun County housing market data. So basically what they did is they took all the sales in Loudoun County, whether it's the $100,000 condo in Leesburg or the $1.5 million horse property in Western Loudoun, lumped it all together and came out with a median price point. Personally, I think this data has very little use for you if you're trying to make a smart decision on whether to list. In my opinion, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense really to use it. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with, like I said, there's nothing wrong with DAR posting the infographic. That's what they do. The data is accurate. I just do not use it to make any kind of decision. We've all heard the adage that real estate is all about location, location, location. So personally, I feel that it's a little bit more specific than that. I think it has to come down to a hyper-local market and studying that. So the thought that we can lump them all into one basket and come up with some data, like I said, doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Personally, looking at Loudoun County, I feel that there are at least 100 submarkets in Loudoun County that have to be understood. Just for the exercise, let me take you through that process, and hopefully I can make you understand what I mean. So within Loudoun County, a lot of different areas, a lot of different towns. Let's just take one town in particular. Let's pick Leesburg. Within Leesburg, there's 2 zip codes. There's 20175 and 20176. Within 20176, that zip code, a lot of specific neighborhoods. There's Lansdowne, there's River Creek, there's Potomac Station, Potomac Crossing. All of them are a little bit different. Let's focus in now on Lansdowne. What kind of market is Lansdowne? Well, you've got single family homes that are 3,000 square feet above grade that sell for $700,000. You also have a 5,000 square foot home that backs up to the golf course that might be $1.2 million. Totally different appeal, different in marketability. Makes no sense to really lump them together and derive any kind of market data from those different markets. Again, Lansdowne, townhouses, right? You have $500,000 townhomes. You also have $700,000 townhomes. And within townhomes, you even have some that are condo ownership. And as far as condo ownership, you have some that are $300,000 and others that are much bigger that sell for $600,000. So totally different appeal, different market ability, different buyer, and to understand whether what is good for that market or what makes sense as far as whether to list or not, you really have to get into the nitty gritty and knowing exactly which one you're dealing with. So let's take a look at the homeowner who is in that $300,000 condo in Leesburg. How do they decide whether or not to list right now? Well, this is my personal opinion, and I feel like this is not the time to give your cousin who just got their real estate license last year a call, or to contact your mom's friend who does 4 transactions a year and 3 of those transactions are in Fairfax County. I strongly feel that you need to treat this transaction or this decision as you would if you were hiring a financial advisor. So there's a lot of good real estate agents here in Loudoun County. There are those that really understand the market and have a good feel for all those hyper markets. Those are the kind of agents that you need to be reaching out to. Hey, look at, I'll be perfectly honest. When I hired my financial advisor, I hired him 15 years ago. To this day, he's a good friend of mine, but back then, 15 years ago, he wasn't a friend. I hired him for 2 reasons. One, he was really good at what he did. And the second one is that he was able to instill a certain level of trust with me to the point where I felt like he was always going to do what was in my best interest. It was never about how much money he was going to make, what was good for him. He always gave me advice that I really felt strongly was in my best interest and what was in my family's best interest. So that's how I look at my business right now, my real estate business right now. It has a lot to do with trust. And I feel like my job is to do what's in your best interest and what's in the best interest for your family as well. It's not about doing a transaction. So whether or not you buy, sell, or invest in a property with me and I represent you in that transaction, that really makes little difference to me, honestly. What I'm looking to do is build relationships with people to the point where I can advise them throughout their career and throughout their life and help them make smart decisions when it comes to real estate. So with that said, in the spirit of giving value and without any obligation or expectation of anything in return, I do want to make an offer to you. If you're curious about where your property is in relation to the Loudoun market and whether or not this is a good time to list or it isn't, because honestly, I don't know until I look into the data. You might be in a neighborhood in a certain submarket that if you listed your house this weekend, it would sell this weekend. On the other hand, you could be in a submarket where if you listed it, nobody's really going to look at it, and it might be sitting there for a long time. And the only way to know is to talk to somebody who studies the Loudoun County submarkets. So my offer is, again, text me. For those on video, I will flash my cell phone number. For those listening on the podcast, my cell phone number is 703-577-1946. Send me your name and your neighborhood. Tell me a little bit about your home, and I will do the market analysis with you, and I will set up an appointment where we can discuss it one-on-one. So again, absolutely no obligation. I'm here to help, here to give you good advice, and that's my sole motivation in this discussion right now. So let's wrap things up. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to the podcast, and stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll talk to you soon.